This Southern Pacific covered hopper local freight is hauling cement out to a remote plant in Walnut Creek, California. This is heading out to the San Ramon branch in the 1950s. We have to pass a place called Las Juntas, roughly Spanish for joining. First, an SW1 needs to slip by this junction and its interlocking tower. Now the SP local runs by the tower. This is a 1.5% grade heading through some hilly countryside. The iron oxide red cars are from Katy, just as delivered. The gray cars are all revised, model die casting cars with better details, and the new square hatches replacing the original round ones. This creek is crossed on a concrete culvert bridge made with poplar wood I bought at the hardware store. The caboose on our SP cement hopper local freight was one of the kits made by Silver Streak Models, also known for True Scale Track and other models. These two brands were very popular in the 1950s and 60s. Here are several boxes used by these kits back in the day. The oldest one is on the left, probably around 1950. Even today, these kits can make very nice models, especially if you upgrade them with modern detail parts. Silver Streak has been long gone for many years, but the kits are still easy to find, especially online. Thousands of these kits were bought, never assembled, and simply squirreled away in closets decades ago. Today they show up in estate sales. So if you prefer to model railroading from the 1950s era, why not start with kits from that era? All their kits were primarily wood, with pre-cut pieces and metal cast parts for details. The sides were usually painted and lettered. The instructions were excellent and never left the builder wondering how things should fit together. Silver Streak and others, like Old Varney and Metal Atherin kits, are featured in a website we found called hoseeker.com. So if you find a kit with missing instructions, it's likely there for reference. Here is a typical boxcar kit that someone partially assembled. The cast metal ends will be added to the end blocks of wood later. The sides are pretty basic. They are grooved to represent outside sheathing of a boxcar that was built in perhaps the mid to late 1920s. These cars were rebuilt during the Depression and used into the 1950s. They would look even better if repainted and lettered with dry transfer lettering sets or traditional water decals. Some parts, like this caboose roof, are pre-shaped. This would take a lot of work if starting from scratch with a block of wood. The arch on the bottom side is typical of caboose construction. Here is a partially assembled kit. I bought at a swap meet, and we can see the roof profile a little better. These kits have metal castings for the truck bolsters, end sills, and the caboose steps and platforms. These parts save lots of time compared to scratch building these items. The ends are a casting, nicely done. The window is on the wrong side as per the Southern Pacific's C30-1 class, but I won't dwell on that. The side window frames are metal castings. They stick out a little bit, so they were sanded flat and filed down in thickness to appear a little more to scale. This is a major part of the work, spared by one nice metal casting. The middle window opening was filled in with styrene sheet stock to make it look a little more like a Southern Pacific looking caboose. The sides have a slope to them, much like the original C30-1 SP cabooses used. A hole was cut into the roof stock to actually embed this piece into the roof to allow a seating area. This takes time, don't rush it. I decided to update the caboose to a later C30 version that used a straight-sided cupola. This old model die casting model donated its snap-in cupola. I fully built one of these MDCs years ago. More styrene stock makes the part slide into the hole and allow for a floor to be added later for upstairs crew seating. 1/16,000th of an inch thick solder was rolled flat and then ACC glued to the roof in half-inch increments. This adds the ribbing to the roof as indicated in the instructions. These kits actually come with stamped metal ones if you prefer. Next, bits of white styrene were cut to add attachment points for the wooden roof walk. The roof walk wraps around the cupola on the SP model, so that concept was roughly followed here. Next, the cupola grab irons were bent from 15,000 thick brass wire. This allows the crew members to walk around the cupola with something to hold on to. The platform ends and curved side wiring railings supplied were used. They're a little thick, but nicely formed from steel wire, and I wanted to preserve some of the character of this old kit. The underbody was really stark on this kit. I used their truck bolsters but added a plastic ribbed frame from an old Atheron plastic blue box Boxcar Kit. I pieced it together to fit the short 23-foot spacing between the truck bolsters. The caboose-style trucks are from Katy, with built-in electrical pickups to run the Tomar Industries end marker lamps and the interior LED lighting. The rest is just following the kit instructions, and then airbrushing the model and adding window glazing. The decals on this one were old Champ decals for SP cabooses. When you're finished, your workbench might need a refresh to make a new project even possible. Thanks for watching.